Hello everyone, this is Bob with Bob CNC and welcome to our troubleshooting series. So today we're going to be looking at the Revolution and why will this machine not home. So what is homing, I guess, first of all, that's really just driving the CNC to a location. So we have two homing switches on this machine. We have the Z homing switch here, and if I held that, I would be able to see that on the UGS screen. I'll point my cursor to it. It will be the alarm Z. And then if I held this one over here, which is my home switch that is the X, again, the same thing on the UGS screen, it would show up as alarm X. So if I were to home this machine right now, it would actually work. But what would happen if, let's just say my Z switch came undone? And I'll show you what that sounds like. It's an awful sound, but here we go. I'm going to go ahead and home the machine. You can see that it won't work because I have the alarm Z is already active on my screen. So here we go. Here's what's going to happen. Oh, it went down a little bit. It goes down a little bit. Why is that? Because the software really believes that it is connected or hitting the switch, right? And if it's hitting the switch, the obvious answer is to go down a little bit. Well, then it gives you an error because it went down and it didn't come off the switch, right? So I'll go ahead and plug that one back in, and then we'll go ahead and unplug the other switch. Okay, so I'm plugging in the Z switch, and you'll notice now I have the alarm X on my screen, and I'll hit home, and you'll see that Z will work just fine. See what happened? It thought it was all the way at the edge, and it backed off a little bit, but because it could not back off, it says you didn't home correctly. Now, how do you tell if it didn't home correctly? You'll still be in the alarm mode up here on the top of the screen, here where my cursor is. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and see if I can plug this thing back in to the right one with my old eyes back here. And if I do plug it right in, you'll see that my alarms go away. And now watch when I home the machine. Once it gets completed through the homing process, it will go from the alarm state, here where it's showing home now, and it'll be in the idle state because it will have homed correctly. All right? So you see now here it's in the idle mode. So what can we do when it doesn't home? We have to diagnose home switches. How can we do that? I'm going to go ahead and turn the power off so I can slide it around, right? What I can do is I can go ahead and hold the switch with my fingers and then just watch on the screen to see that I have the correct alarm, which for this one, for the Revolution, this would be the Z home switch, and this would be the X home switch, and it's the only two home switches that you have. Now, if they're not working correctly, but yet they're plugged into the board as per the manual, there's a couple of things that can happen. If you have the mounting screws too tight, right, we can jam the switch, so the switch is actually stuck in a position so it won't work. You might try just backing off on those screws a little bit. They just need to hold it into position. Don't really need to clamp it down a lot, okay? The other thing would be is if a wire was broken. So you'll definitely need to check your connections. Where they are going to break, if they break, are typically right at the switch, or maybe the plug is not completely inserted, or the wire is not completely inserted to plug. So once you get those taken care of, if your machine doesn't home, you'll want to do a software reset. And I'll go ahead and show you this, even though it's not necessary, because this one is working. If I come down here to the command text box and I type in $RST equals $, and then just press the enter key, it will reset it. That also will fix your firmware. And the reason that works is because if you've changed firmware values, you may have inverted those switches. So that will always set it back to default. So that is how we diagnose home switches for the Revolution. Thanks for watching.